Sean Lamb here for Streaming Media Producer at NAB 2015. We're at the Matrox booth. I'm joined here by Dan Maloney, and we're going to be talking today about the Monarch HDX. Now, the streaming media viewers will remember that 2 years ago we awarded the Monarch HD with a Streaming Media Best of NAB Award. Now, the Monarch HDX is a new version. Tell us a bit about that.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, 2 years ago, we launched our first product of the Monarch HD, or Monarch family of products. And the HD really resonated with the enterprise class of customer. That included house of worship, government, education in particular, really said that this was a great product. First thing we did was added flexibility to the Monarch HDX. It has two encoders like the Monarch HD, but it has each encoder can be tasked for either streaming or recording. Monarch HD had one encoder for streaming, one for recording. HDX allows those two encoders to be tasked as the user sees fit. If the user needs a recording appliance, and Monarch HD really did resonate with just as a recording appliance, you can now use both encoders to record. Say one as a primary network recording, so it's a network appliance, can record to a network storage, but you can also record simultaneously locally. In the event that the network goes down, you'll always have a copy of what you've recorded locally. Should you want to record at a very high quality, 25 megabit per second for some type of edit and for VOD upload after the event is completed, you could have a proxy recording at a much lower 3 megabit per second just to ensure you can distribute the raw footage to some users that want to see it without having them download the high quality 25 megabit per second. On the streaming side, you can use both of those encoders to stream at either primary and backup servers. So you'd use a bit rate that's applicable for your distribution. Let's call it 3 megabits per second. Target the primary, and if that primary server goes down for whatever reason, your second encoder is sending a signal to the secondary server. So your audience will never miss a beat. Alternatively, you can use those two encoders at two different bit rates, so that you can make available on your server without having to purchase some of the expensive transrating, transcoding options that the media server companies are offering. We would offer the opportunity for two encoding levels. One, say, that's suitable for high network availability wired connections, say 5 megabit per second HD, and you would maybe encode another one at sub 1 megabit per second for some type of 3G or 4G distribution. Lastly, this little device, from an encoding perspective, adds a third encoder specifically dedicated just for input preview. So you have your two primary encoders that are set up to either stream or record, and you don't want to dedicate one of those if you just want to preview the action, the feed that you're being sent. If you want to ensure that the signal is good and that your encoder is ready to go, you enable the third encoder just to preview it it can be embedded right in our web UI, or it could be embedded, or it can be viewed by any device that can read view RTSP, decode RTSP, such as VLC player on any laptop. So we've added some encoding horsepower. We've added the ability to encode up to 1080p 60 with this device, something the HD could not do. We've added, on the hardware side, some impressive processing functionality to clean up, and this is one of those features that broadcasters really resonate to. Ensure the signal coming in, no matter how dirty it is, be it coming from dirty switches or some satellite feeds that are coming in and out. We have some frame synchronization technology built into the box so that the stream is never interrupted. You may lose a frame or two because the picture is gone, but the encoder itself always receives a smooth signal, so the file's never corrupted, the file never stops recording, and the stream never stops, meaning the viewer has a much better experience than having to restart his streaming engine or his player because the encoder could no longer provide a signal due to the dirty nature of the input. So that's something that we listened to, we experienced with the Monarch HD. We added as much software into the Monarch HD to correct those problems as possible. When the signals were too dirty, they had to put an external frame synchronizer. By building that right into the device, anybody who's getting signals that might be of dubious nature, often in live environments, you never know what kind of signals you're going to get. And those frame synchronizers are available on either SDI or HDMI input on that device.
So when you think a lot of the best practices when it comes to streaming, it's that that second stream for that backup. It's the ability to have that preview stream. The Matrox HDX really is satisfying that need there. It's a nice solution. Price point?
$19.95. So we, again, from a broadcast class product, we're really trying to make a very cost-effective platform. I mean, we learned a lot with the Monarch HD. We really solidified the software, made it robust, and now are able to add the hardware into the Monarch HD and tweak the software to make it a very attractive, both on a functionality standpoint and a price standpoint to the broadcasters, or any other professional market that requires this type of functionality.
Now, when we look at the original Monarch HD, it's an HDMI-only input device.
Correct.
The HDX also adds in HDSDI with a loop out, is that correct?
That's correct. So the HDSDI, or 3G SDI, input, it's a selectable input. So both inputs are present, and you select which input you would like to use at that given time. Now in SDI, we added a hardware bypass relay. And again, something that resonates with broadcast engineers, because they know, as they say, stuff happens. And stuff happens, whether it be power loss to the device or even the power supply blows. They like to have some options with how they are routing their signals throughout their plant. And knowing that even if the device blows, the SDI output is rerouted right through the device, gives them an extra security that they have options with how they're going to route signals to within their plants using this device. So we really thought about that little feature. It wasn't something. It's not the highest pointed feature on our feature list, but it does resonate with those guys that really focus on reliability.
Excellent. Now, in terms of the software interface, the UI for this, how does one connect the HDX and the original Monarch HD to a computer input device, whether that's a tablet or a cell phone or a computer?
So it's a standalone, purpose-built appliance. All you need to do is put the IP address in the device, and the web interface will come up. We redesigned the web interface a little bit, again, getting feedback to make it slightly more usable, and we'll be bringing those same changes to the Monarch HD. Should you not know the IP address of your device, we have some handy tools, a Monarch Finder tools that let you both find your unit, update your unit if you don't have the latest software, and even reboot your unit should you want to reset it, all out of one handy utility. Now, the web UI, which we're seeing up here, has some very handy information. We can go through it if you like, but one of the first things, and we can, as I mentioned, that web UI has that embedded player right into it. So that input preview stream immediately comes up onto your page, and then you can see all of your other parameters on that status page. You can control the unit via the web UI or the buttons that are found right on the unit itself. Alternatively, there are other tools that will be coming very shortly after this release for customization of the device. We already have those tools working for the Monarch HD. We're going to enhance those to be applicable to take advantage of all the new features found on the Monarch HDX. And those include simple HTTP commands. There's RS-232 port on this device. Should people want to control the device remotely, not using an IP network, but using an RS-232 network, all those customizable control methodologies will be implemented on the Monarch HDX this summer as well.
Now, from the software, you can control which of the encoders, the function of the encoders, whether it's recording or streaming there. On the recording side, what do you record to, and what type of codecs are available?
So this is an H.264 appliance. We can record, we have 30 megabits per second of encoding capacity. Now, H.264 at 30 megabits per second is really quite impressive. In fact, it's almost overkill. That's why we can certainly offer 2 encoders, and you're still, if you split the capabilities of those 2 encoders, you're still encoding at a very high quality. So you would record to either USB ports that are found on the device or an SD card slot. But as a network appliance, you also can target a network mapped drive. So because you have 2 encoders, you could simultaneously be recording to a network mapped drive and an SD card or USB drive, so that you can have your primary content accessible immediately, or a backup content in your locally, should that network drive be unavailable due to network congestion or unavailability.
So this has been a look at the Matrox Monarch HDX. It's a real step up from the original Monarch HD, and it's targeted at the broadcast market. Thank you very much. This has been Sean Lamb for Streaming Media Producer at NAB 2015.